Hey everyone, so in this video I'm going to show you how to diagnose and ultimately repair excessive play in a vehicle's steering rack and pinion. So I have a 2000 Toyota Tacoma Pre-Runner two-wheel drive that we're going to be using. It has roughly 341,000 miles, and since I've been driving it, I've noticed it has a little bit of play in the steering wheel that I can show you here. That play in the steering wheel is due to worn out inner and outer tie rods. Now for this particular vehicle, to my knowledge, it's never had either of these replaced, and the good quick trick for seeing if there's any play on these is to wiggle the wheel and tire assembly. The quick check to see if there's any excessive tie rod play is to have your vehicle lifted up and to grab the tire at 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock and give it a little bit of a wiggle. So you can maybe not be able to see it on the camera, but there's a fair amount of play going inward and outward. Now you move it too much, you'll just steer it. So you want to have light movement. If you go 12 o'clock to 6 o'clock this way, that is going to tell you if you have any worn ball joints. And if you have a worn wheel bearing, it should be equal play on all directions if that's the case. Now we shouldn't have near any play with this whatsoever. Now what that would look like if we put a dial indicator on it would look like this. So I have the dial indicator base mounted to the frame of the vehicle, like so. A nice stable area that's not going to move, and I have the pointer on the flattest spot I could get it on the steering knuckle. This isn't the most accurate measurement, but it is still able to get a small amount of data, and as I wiggle the wheel again, you can see I have about 10 thousandths, a little bit over that, of play from the point at which I'm measuring. Now when you're doing this, to determine whether or not it is the outer tie rod or the inner tie rod that would be inside of this boot right here, you would need to hang on to the component as you wiggle it back and forth, and you're going to find which one has the excessive play. Now there really isn't a factory specification for this on most vehicles. Usually the rule of thumb is if it's about, you know, an 1/8 of an inch or 1/4 of an inch out. Best way that I found is there shouldn't be any play whatsoever. As we saw in what I filmed driving down the road, there was some excessive play where the steering wheel feels like it's wandering. You kind of look like you're, you know, from an 80s sitcom driving a car where they're just in, you know, a sound booth and they're moving it around. Let's look at what components are going to be required to repair this issue. Due to the mileage, I'm feeling it's probably necessary to replace the outer and the inner tie rod for this particular vehicle. It is a situation that both components, to my knowledge, have well over 300,000 miles on them. I got the truck when it had only 42,000 miles on it, so I've put roughly 299,000 on it, and I've never replaced either of these two components. So we're going to replace both the inner and the outer tie rod along with a new cotter pin. The component that we do need to make sure we transfer over ahead of time, and it's really good to get started on putting some penetrating on there, is there's a jam nut that locks the outer tie rod to the inner tie rods during the toe adjustment, and it won't come loose. As you can see, that doesn't come with our kit. We do get a new castle nut, we get a new cotter pin, but we don't have that jam nut. So I always find it's a good idea to spray that with some penetrating oil. That way we can break it loose a lot easier. So let's get going and start replacing these tie rods. All right, so to start off, remove the wheel and tire. Next thing that I like to do is I've already sprayed the joints that I have to take off with some rust penetrant, but I'm going to go through and I'm going to loosen up the tie rod jam nut. This is the component that we need to make sure we transfer over. I've definitely made the mistake where you get everything all together and you forget that one. So it's easier to break that one loose now, and it's easier that way too for us to separate the two tie rods. We'll undo the cotter pin that's securing the tie rod castle nut. We'll undo the castle nut and we'll separate the taper joint for the tie rod to the actual tie rod itself. I'm not going to fully remove the castle nut yet. I'm going to leave it just a couple threads at the very end so that when I separate the tapered tie rod joint from the steering knuckle, it won't drop straight down. So I'm going to strike it right here with a large hammer. You can do this when it's cast iron. You need to be careful to not mash anything over, not hitting the dust shield. And you don't want to be hitting down. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be hitting the side here to kind of shock it to drop down. With the tie rod separated now from the steering knuckle, the other thing that I like to do to get us within the ballpark of getting the alignment is to count how many turns off of center this is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to loosen this, and that would be one full rotation. Now this isn't an exact science to get this right, but it does get us within the realm of where we want to go. So that it was about 17 turns. Now what I need to do is take my gem nut off, transfer that to the new tie rod, and then I will turn this back in 17 turns with the new one once I replace that inner tie rod. The vehicle will need the toe to be adjusted on an alignment rack regardless, but this just gets you within the realm of it being drivable. Now we got the inner tie rod left, we just have to separate the bellows retaining clips. This one's pretty easy, it's just a little spring clamp, but the other one will be a clip that we're going to have to get loose, and hopefully we can save to be able to reuse it. If you can't, they're pretty easy got at the parts store. All right, we got the boot off. I'm going to choose to ignore the little bit of fluid leaking on this. It's probably primarily just grease from the inner tie rod worn out. Now this inner tie rod, compared to like other vehicles, it's got a short socket, and the outer tie rod's the actual length, but we can see how very much worn out this is, and that is where we were getting our excessive play. To get these off, we're going to use a special tool that's going to slide over and we're going to break loose. But we do have this kind of locking washer. There's two tabs on the end of the flat part of the rack gear that prevent that from rotating. So we're going to fold this over, and then I'm going to use a backing wrench on the actual rack itself and then break this loose. I'm going to take this collar. This collar is going to slide over. I'm going to use the tool end to go over the tie rod and clasp onto the two ears. I'll rotate the lock over. Once I get it in, like so, and then I'm going to use the appropriate size tool. This is a 1/2 inch drive to break it loose. So that's all it takes. Take the adapter off, and we can unthread our old tie rod. All right, I've wiped down and cleaned out the bore for the threads. The new tie rod, I like to apply just a small amount of blue Loctite on the threads here. This retaining ring, this guy is what's going to actually lock it in. There's two tabs that will lock it against the base here of the rack and pinion. But I like to have just a little bit of blue Loctite just in case, because a little added insurance is not going to hurt. Probably not a good idea to use red, because the red Loctite will potentially make it to where we can't service this at all. So once I get it to where I can't hand thread that anymore, I'm going to put my tool collar on. Slide my adapter over, lock this in place again, and then tighten it down, torque it to factory spec. So I went ahead and folded over the locking tab. Now we're going to install the bellows. Really lucky that the factory bellows on this particular truck are actually in pretty good shape, and I didn't have to replace them. It is a good opportunity at this point. They're pretty cheap to change them out now. got the bellows back installed with the proper clamps. I'm going to go through now and I'm going to install my outer tie rod, making sure that the jam nut for when I do the alignments is on. There is, on this particular vehicle for this Toyota Tacoma, there is a flat end that should go towards the inner tie rod. That way it has like more surface area to lock against and it won't gall up. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it the same amount of turns going on as I did going off, and that will get me within the general ballpark of where I need to be. I still will need to do an alignment on it. All right, so I'm roundabout where I need to be in terms of getting it at the same depth that it was when the old one came out. I'm going to just lightly thread this down to where it contacts. I don't need to get it tight. Thankfully, I only have to drive a couple feet to align it. If I was driving this from like my house garage to an alignment shop, then I would probably snug that up, but don't, you know, go aggro with it, or don't even get it to factory torque spec, because it's just going to have to come off. You just want it snug enough to where it's not going to come loose. In our case, I'm just going to hand tighten it and it will get final torque once the alignment is complete. After that, we're going to install the tie rod end into our steering knuckle end. This does have a taper fit, so it's going to wedge into the steering knuckle end, which will take a little bit involved with getting it tightened. It might also be a good idea too, while you have the opportunity, to turn the ball joint in its bore so that you get a more desirable in or out for the cotter pin. So we'll probably do that, or I'll rotate this over just a little bit to be able to have it to where I can get this back in correctly. All right, I have the castle nut torqued. I did want to make sure that I rotated it to where I can get a new cotter pin in. Always need to make sure you replace the cotter pins. You cannot reuse these. We'll bend that over. And now what we can do is we can get the wheel and tire on and we can double check it. Last thing to do with this aftermarket tie rod is we are going to tighten up the grease fitting right here, and then we'll go and do an alignment. After I went through and made sure everything's tight, got the cotter pin all installed, I did go through and we aligned it. So I've just got done doing toe alignment on this particular truck. I did end up changing the right side inner and outer tie rod as well, just to make it even. It's got a lot of miles on it. This side wasn't as, you know, loose as this side was, but still good practice with that. Now that does bring up the, you know, conversation of, do you have to replace, you know, if one tie rod's bad, do you have to replace the other side? And there's multiple correct answers for that depending on the situation. If it's your own vehicle and you're paying for it, it's a good idea to do it. If it's a warranty job, for instance, so you have to only replace the bad component if that's the case. But, you know, that's a discussion for a different video. I did end up taking the time to replace my rag joint right here, or the intermediate shaft joint. This was a giant pain in the butt. This took a couple hours because it's hollow in here. In between the rag joint and the two couplers, and it had rusted, and it rusted to the end of the rack there. So that took me quite a bit of effort to get off. After I have finished up the alignment and I've dialed that in, I'm gonna grease the joints a little bit, and then I'm gonna go for a test drive. One thing to note after you've done the alignment is it's really important for these joints to live a long life to have them as even on the steering knuckle as you possibly can. What I mean by that is you don't want to have it like, you know, finish up the alignment like this where it's rocked over one way or the other. You want to make sure that after you've made your adjustments, your final adjustments, that is, like tightening the jam nut down, you want to make sure the tie rod's nice and even so that the joint's not wearing on, you know, a strange area of the cup or anything. This is one final look at the components that we ended up replacing. So we replaced the inner tie rods for that excessive play. There's no more play now when you grab the wheel, it's nice and tight. And then we also replaced the outer tie rod only because they had a worn boot. They have a little bit of play in them, not nearly as much as the inner tie rod here though. And then this was the other component I replaced. I didn't film only because it was really kind of being a pain in my ass, and that was this CV rag joint, not CV, excuse me, intermediate shaft rag joint that goes in between the steering column. So now all I got to do is I got to go test drive it and verify that everything's nice and straight. But just in driving around from the rack to the alignment rack, it's nice and stable, and the truck is feeling a lot tighter in the steering linkage, so it should be ready to go. If you've gotten this far in the video, I appreciate you taking the time to watch it. Hope to see you in the next one.